What's up, Marvel fans? This is Stan Series, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a spoiler review for Spider-Man Homecoming. Yes, I went to watch it today, and I'll tell you now, it was very funny and awesome, and it's the best Spider-Man film ever. Sorry for the first three Spider-Man films and the Amazing Spider-Mans. I'll tell you now, to me, they're all crap and not good. So for this one, better than those ones. And I really enjoyed the film. I really enjoyed it. I loved the humour. I loved everything in that film. And the twists and turns in it. That was pretty good of this film is. So, I'm about to get into spoiler territory. So, if you don't want to know any spoilers, please leave now. And if you do fancy to come back here after you watch it, please do by. Or if you're one of those people who don't care or who don't bother about spoilers, well, enjoy the ride really. So, how does this all start off then? Well, we jump to 2012 and we see Vulture and his group of the cleaners. Now in this, I thought first they were the damage control, but no, they're just a group who just do the cleaning. And they don't really reference themselves as damage control in that bit, so they must have just been another company who clean up. But anyway, Toombs goes on with his one of the shockers, the second one, about this drawing his kid drawed of the Avengers and the portal and everything. And when they go on about that picture with him, about what's happened. And I'll get back to about his kid in a bit, because this is a surprising one. So they start cleaning up and all that. And then next we see a government come along and saying to his group, to Vulture and his group, saying, you don't need it anymore, we brought in the damage control, so you're out of business. And let's say Vulture was not happy about that. So later on, one of Vulture's workers tells him about, you know, the technology, and then he goes on about, you know, we'll keep it, and he does bring that speech up, you know, when he says, the world's changing, boys, time to change too. And and then after that, we jump to 80 years later, and we see him and his workers. They've already stolen some of the A and tech, and every tech that was in every Avengers battle, or the events in the other films. And we see that Vulture is already Vulture all those years. So that's pretty cool. I was wondering first, like, how did they... I was like, well, when I was watching it, I was like, well, hang on then that means the Avengers must have heard about this. But I think it must have been like, oh, he's not really a big threat, so we won't, you know, we don't have to worry about it, really. Maybe that's how they handled it. But anyway, that is pretty cool. One thing is that's got confusing was, because he says 8 years later, so if you think about it, beginning was like 2012, so 8 years later, that would have to be 2020, but that doesn't make sense because it's supposed to take place after Civil War. Well, 2 months when I get to the Peter Parker's bit. So I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. That really doesn't make any sense. So anyway, let's jump to the moment in Civil War. So we see Peter, you know, on his way to Germany, where they're gonna have this big battle, and he just thought about filming it, and it's pretty funny when he films it. He tries to talk to Happy, and that doesn't go well. Then we see Peter putting on his homemade costume, and I tell you now, the homemade costume is pretty good. I love the look of it. Then we see a moment when Happy goes like, what are you doing? Where's the case? Did you not see the case? And he's like, what case? And then he goes to the case and finds there's the costume that we see in the new film, and he's really overexcited. Then we jump to the Avengers battle. Well, all this time he had his camera with him and he recorded the whole battle and everything. And it's so funny. After that, he carried on recording, going crazy, saying about, oh, blah, 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 you know, oh, I just stole Captain America's shoulder and this happened and all that. He was going like that. And Happy came in the room, he went like, you know, we got thin walls, right? And I'm like, oh, I hope no one was hearing this. And he even carried on when they got back home, and even Tony got on to the video, and he was saying like, hi, Ann, mate, you know, you're fit, and he was kind of that kind of stuff, and it was so funny. Now, before Peter left, Tony did tell him about, you know, don't do anything what I would do, and he's telling him that stay close to the ground and don't get most attention, really, or don't do big things, you know, that kind of thing. So that is pretty funny. Then we jump to 2 months later, and sad for Peter Parker, he hasn't heard nothing from Tony or Happy. But what we see him is, we see him like going through his normal day, you know, in high school, and it's pretty good. I'll tell you now, they do touch that well. Now, before I carry on, I'll tell you now, that beginning part with the Vulture in his group and the Spider-Man filming all that Civil War fight, I thought that was pretty cool how they did that for the start. I love it they started the film off with, point of view on the Vulture. That is pretty cool. I don't think they ever did that before with the other Spider-Man films, but that was pretty cool. Filming the Civil War battle and everything was going on for him. Oh, that was hilarious. I thought that was pretty cool. That was really awesome, really. I thought those scenes are pretty good to me. They are. So anyway, back to the thing then. So we also see Flash Thompson, and he's actually like the same, like he's a bully and everything, but the only thing difference of bullying wise he does is he just makes bad, nasty comments to him, like nicknames, or not like very, very horrible stuff, but he just, say bad things to him. But that's the type of bullying he does. He doesn't like punch him or wedge you or anything like that. So I'm alright with that. I thought that was good, really. I didn't really bother how he bullies in the film, but they did it good. Then we introduced to Ned, Peter's friend, and he's pretty cool as well in the film. He's pretty awesome, he is. And I thought that is the best choice they did for Peter's friend character. Then also in the day, we do see Peter, as I said, going through through the day of his school life, and it's pretty awesome, really. I thought that is pretty good. They did a good job on the film about, fitting the school life of his in it, and it is good. Then after school, we see him start doing his, his Spider-Man work, because he's trying to prove to Tony that he's ready to be an Avenger. He wants to be part of the team, and I thought that was pretty good, really. That is pretty awesome. We see him do his dairy day. We see him, stop some wobblers. We see him help an old lady. That's pretty awesome. What else did we see? I'm trying to think what else was there. Well, you get the picture. Then, next in the night, sorry, I'm trying to remember most, but oh yeah, that was it. Next thing what happens was we get the bang wobblers, who go to the ATM, who's got the Avengers masks, and they were part of Vulture's group. That's what I found out, because they got the tech, and they were usually to rob the place, but we all know what happens. Spider-Man stops them. But it ends up not much badly, but one of the robbers, the one who wears the Hulk mask, blasts like this energy gun, like a laser blast gun, and hits a shot that Peter knows. And luckily he saves him. And he also has to save the cat, because the owner of that shop has a cat, and he was lucky to save him. When it came to on Peter's way back home, he finds out that Ned's in the room, and he finds out he's Spider-Man, and he goes completely like, "You're Spider-Man from YouTube." And it was a funny moment. And I love when they talk about it, like the whole thing, and he's like, and Ned's like, "I can't keep a secret, you know what I'm like," and all that. It's pretty cool. Now with that bit with the school life and doing his job and that wobbling and all that was on about then, I thought that was pretty cool how they done that stuff, how he went so far in the film. It was pretty awesome, really. It looked really good. I thought so far we're like, oh, it's getting good, it's getting good. And I thought, wow, they're doing a good job here. Then after that, we see like another day with Peter in school, with Ned, and Ned really asks him a lot of questions about what can he do as Spider-Man and all that. Oh, and I thought I'd say this now. Luckily, Peter does mention about he got bitten by spiders, so you don't have to worry if you were worried like, oh, if they change his origin a bit, but no. Peter still did get bit by Spider-Man. It's just the one thing they haven't said is, yes, where did he get bit? Was it at Oscorp or some other building? But maybe they might bring it up like in future films, like he might say, oh, I got bit in that Oscorp building. I mean, who knows? They didn't really bring it up, but I hope they do in the future. Then really, one lesson, Captain America made his appearance. Well, not an actual appearance, but he was like in this old TV screen and talking about the gym and everything, and oh, that was pretty cool. And I love it when Ned keeps talking to Peter about what, as I said, what can he do and all that. And for silly him, he blurted out that, oh, Peter knows Spider-Man. I know he did that because Liz loved Spider-Man's love interest, well, Pete's love interest, but talks about Spider-Man, and she says about, oh, I might have a crush on him and all that. So that happens. And then Flash Thompson does bring up about, oh, there's a party in her house. You could try to bring Spider-Man with you. And he was being sarky because he was saying, oh, I'm dating Black Widow, like that kind of thing. Or like, I know Black Widow, that kind of joke. I was like, oh, that is harsh, that is. So, later on after that, we jump to the party bit and we see Ned and Peter there. And even Flash Thompson's there. The knob, I'll say. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed his character and the actor who played him. It's just, his character was a knob. You know, how he treats Peter and all that. Then, then Peter thought to get dressed as Spider-Man, you know, so he can turn up at the parties to, you know, kind of like shut up Flash Thompson. But that doesn't happen because of another incident happens. So we get introduced, well, they were introduced earlier, but we get to see the two Shockers, and we see Miles Morales' uncle, Allan. And you see the two Shockers were trying to sell weapons to him, you know, to Allan, but he doesn't agree on it. But then Spider-Man gets involved, and the first Shocker is the, what's his name? Jason, yeah, his first name is Jason. And we see him, he actually does have that similar, does have a costume kind of wise of Shocker. It's just the sad thing was, with the both Shockers, they don't actually have a Shocker costume. No, they don't. Only thing they do have as reference to the costume of Shocker is just the yellow thing the Shocker has. And also, what was disappointing about was, there's only a one Shocker glove. That it was actually a crossbones glove, but modified to be a Shocker weapon. That was disappointing, because I thought there would be like another one on the other hand, but, hopefully, well, who knows, maybe in the future there could be. But anyway, Spider-Man has a winning with those guys. And then, with Spider-Man also has a chase with them, because they get away in their vehicle. But then Vulture comes by and grabs Peter. And it was like a good moment. I was like, whoa. I thought, whoa, this is getting, you know, serious here. And Spider-Man is gone, and his power suit kicks in. I'm like, damn. And then Iron Man comes in, and Iron Man saves him, because Peter ends up in the water, and Iron Man saves him. And then Iron Man just goes on about, like, what are you doing? I told you to stay close to the ground, and that kind of thing. And then it turns out Peter's not in the suit. Iron Man, it turns out that Iron Man's not in the suit. Tony's at some other country, you know. And then we learned that Friday is control. Well, Friday's not really controlling the suit, but Friday is there, and she does talk. And then the suit goes off, really. Oh, excuse me. Then after that, we see that Pete another day in school, and what it was, he finds this tech from one of the Shockers that was out of the vehicle, and he takes it to school with him, so him and Ned could figure out what they are, you know, well, what it is. They do figure out later on it's part of the aliens, you know, the Satari tech. I think so. It's hard to remember if they did or not, but that's what happened. Anyway, later on, Peter actually, because one Shocker, the one who becomes the second one, and some other member of the Vulture's gang, they try to find the tech, but that doesn't happen. But luckily, Pete puts a tracer on the Shocker, and he learns that he's going to Washington DC. So Peter, you know, goes there, and because there's a school trip happening, so he goes there. Well, there's a competition going on in Washington DC, so he managed to go there. Then on the night, Peter and Ned find out that the suit does have more abilities, but it's being blocked by Tony. But luckily, they hack it, and Peter starts trying out all the new gadgets that he didn't know he had. And that's when we get introduced to the AI in Peter Parker's suit. And he later calls her K.A.R.E.N or something like that. And it's so funny. So funny, really, because when he tries to shoot the webs like he always shoots, let's say that cocks up because she keeps giving him different web abilities. And oh, it's so funny, this. Now, before we move on, now, those bits just then, the party, you know, the attack with the villains first time and all that, I thought that was good. I thought the villain bit was so good. How he was trying to take on the both Shockers, but that didn't pretty go well, because he kept crashing to everything, and he kept running to catch up with them, and it was so funny for Spider-Man. But I thought the scene went good, really. It went good. So, yeah. And also, like, really, as I said, it was awesome. also the bit with the party, I thought that was pretty cool. That was as well. Now, back to the where we were then. So Spider-Man gets another run-in with the Vulture, and Vulture attempts to steal some more tech, and Spider-Man does stop him, but let's say Spider-Man ends up stuck in a one of the vans, because, well, let's say Vulture's got one of these techs that he could go through anything. Like, this tech will make like a hole, not destroy the metal or whatever he wants to go through. It just makes like a portal for him to go through. And let's say Spider-Man ends up in there and he gets stuck in there. And then he ends up getting stuck in the damage control place. And I'll tell you now, Ultron's head is in the film. And if you look very carefully, his eyes are lit up. And I'll say this now, Marvel, are you trying to tell us that is Ultron alive? Because if you are, I'll give you a well done. That might be telling us that he's alive. I mean, if he's not, I won't be happy about that. So, anyway, so he gets stuck there for a bit, and he thought that his chance to try the new abilities out, you know, the new web shooters, you know, the abilities they could do. He also talked to the AI, and he talks about this, and the AI talks to him about, you should tell her, you know, how you feel, and you should, you know, all that. Luckily, Spider-Man gets out of the damage control place, and goes back to Washington, D.C. At the time, he learns that this purple device I was on about, when him and Ned were looking at, it turns out that it's an explosion kind of thing. And let's say he tries to tell Ned that, get rid of it, it's going to blow up. But when him and the bunch of the other kids and the teacher went on the escalator in this long building that's in Washington by the water bit, let's say it blows up and it makes, and let's say they get stuck in the lift. And then Peter has to go up there and try to save them. And at the same time, he learns about his spider symbol is like a hover mini spider drone that can, you know, give him a look at another point of view, like if he can't see it. And he looks pretty cool, he does. And luckily, he managed to get in there, and he did use the web wings, and that was a pretty cool moment he used it. But yeah, he managed to save everyone, and even Liz. And it was like a good moment, it was. It was like pretty awesome. And, then what happened after that? Oh, yeah. Next thing was, I'm trying to remember this. Oh, that was it. Later on, he went on about, like, I got to find them, you know, I got to find out what their next move is, you know. Where would they be next? Well, then we jumped back to the Miles Morales' character, and he thought he might be the person to know where they're going to be. And I'll tell you now, it's funny when he comes across him again. Because Peter talks to the AI, and she says about, do you want me to put the interrogation mode on? Well, no, when he's interrogating with the person. And when he does it, he's got a deep voice. And it's so funny. And then when he realises right, he goes like, oh, turn it off, turn it off. So they have a talk, you know, about, do you know where they're going to be and all that. And then he doesn't tell him first, but then Mars' uncle does say like, okay, you know, look, I don't want these guys out there with these weapons, so I will tell you. And I'll tell you now, he does say in the film, he does say, look, I've got a little nephew I want to look after and all that. And he does, that's a reference to Miles Morales. So, Miles Morales' uncle does tell Spider-Man dad, oh, they're going to be on this boat, they're going to meet with another group to sell weapons. And that was, and I'll tell you now, that bit and the saving his, you know, Peter's mates on that escalator scene, those scenes were good, really. I thought they were enjoyable to watch. I did also love the moment when you know, Spider-Man meets Allan, you know, that's Miles' uncle, and that was like a good moment. That was pretty awesome, really. Now, then Spider-Man does go to the scene where, you know, Vulture and his group are going to meet with the other group, and the other group's leader is the fourth version of Scorpion. So he makes his appearance, and that's who he is in the film at that point. Now, I'll tell you now, he doesn't become Scorpion, no. But the one thing he does have as a reference is he has a scorpion tattoo on his neck. So that's a reference that, you know, hey, he's the fourth version of Scorpion in the comics. So that's a good reference. But anyway, before he starts to attack, Tony and Happy do call up, and they try to say, where are you, and all that. And Pete's tried to, as I said, Pete doesn't want him to know because because he wants to do this on his own, you know, as I said, because he wants to prove that he's actually an Avenger and he's ready to take on big tasks. So after all that went over, he starts attacking, and he also had to attack in Scorpion. Then Vulture kicks in and starts having a fight with Pete, and we do see that the Scorpion gets dropped into the water, and you do see a car hitting him, and at that point I was like, oh my god, is he dead? But I'll get to about that in a bit, because he does, does reveal what happened to him. But anyway, the fight goes on, and it comes to the point when after the big battle with him and Shocker, the boat does split in half, just like we saw, and Pete at one point did manage to get the boat, not to sink, but then he just fell, and then he tries it again, and then luckily Iron Man comes into the scene and saves him. Then after that, Peter argues with Tony, saying about, I told you about this, you wouldn't listen and all that. And at one point he thought that, oh, you're not there, you're just controlling your suit again. And then it turned out he was there. And it was like it was like a tense moment, because Tony was saying about, this is a grown-up moment talking now. Like that kind of thing. And he goes like, I want you to be better and all that. All that kind of thing. And it's a sad moment as well, because Tony does say to him, I need that suit back. And Peter was on about, I'd nothing without the suit and all that. And and Tony does bring up about like, how are you that person without the suit? Something like that kind of reference he does. And it's so sad when that happens. He takes the suit off him. And then Peter had to wear some funny clothes on his way back, he did. And then Aunt May was really panicking, She was on about like, I've been calling you a lot of times and all that, and I was worried what happened. And I tell you now, her character in the film is so amazing, and she is so funny in it. Oh, and also to bring up, they kind of do reference Uncle Ben, but not by name. They don't mention his name, but they do. At one point, Spidey says about, oh, come on, man, Aunt May's been through a rough time. So that kind of says that, it's the Uncle Ben getting killed situation. So, yeah, so they kind of did brought that up, but not that much. Now, after that, it comes to another day, Peter's school, and he feels down, because he disappointed Tony and all that. He felt like he disappointed Tony, and he lost the suit. That was pretty sad. And look, and really, it was really, really, sad for that, really. So then later on, we see him talking to Liz, and he finally, asked her for the dance. And he also tells her that he always loved her. And then she goes like, I know. And I was like, damn, the girl knows. And the next bit's kind of funny, because it's all him getting ready for, homecoming, and it's all showing him like getting dressed and know how to put a tie on, and it's pretty funny. Pretty awesome. Then we see him that enter into Liz's house, and this was a shocking moment. When the door opens, you see Vulture there, and when I saw him first, I was like, wait, what's going on? Why is he there? I thought at the moment like he was going to say that he's got her or something. But no, it turns out that Liz's dad is the Vulture. And I was like, damn. And I thought that was a big twist, and well, I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. So in the MCU version, Liz's dad is the Vulture. How cool is that? Now, I also mentioned, the boat scene and the bits after that, I thought those moments were good. I did love the ferry scene, like with him taking on the multiple villains, I did love. And I did feel like after that battle with him and Spider-Man and Tony talk, I thought, whoa, that felt like an intense scene, like that. I thought that was a perfect thing, that was. And also like that stuff after it, I thought that was hilarious and funny. It was so hilarious. Now, before we get into the final bit, with the dance and the final battle, I want to talk about the side of the villains, the Vulture in his group. So, as the one point I mentioned earlier, the wobbling scene with the villains, as I said, that was pretty cool, how that happened. Like, they were trying to wob the bank, but that didn't work out, as I said. It was pretty cool. Now, I want to jump after like the chase with Spider-Man had with the two shockers. Now, after that, we do see them back into the lair, and the Tinkerer is there as well. And the Tinkerer has been working on a lot of stuff from the technology they've been taken. And Vulture really gets angry of the first shocker because he says about, he gets angry about what happened on that job. And then the shocker goes to like, oh, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. And Vulture does bring up, you're the shocker. And he just brings his name up. And that is pretty cool. One minute he does tell him like, I want you out of here and all that. And that shocker really pissed him off. He says about, hey, I'll go and tell your family about what you've been doing. And Vulture was not liking that. And Vulture grabbed one of the Tinkerer's weapons and killed him. He killed the first shocker. And I was like, oh man. I was like, damn, as well at the same time. And it was funny as well because the Vulture just was like, wait a minute, I thought this was the gravity gun. And Tinkerer goes like, no, that one's over there. That was funny. I think Vulture wasn't meant to kill him, but he went like, I bet his mind went like, oh damn, I just killed one of my members. But then after that, the second version of the shocker takes the mantle. And as I said, he didn't have a costume as well. Only thing he had was the yellow thing and the one glove, one of the customized crossbones glove. And as I said, it was pretty bad that there wasn't another one. Like, so he had two shocker gloves, but I thought it was alright, mate. It's just it's the first film for the shocker, so I thought maybe maybe I might get used to it later on in the film, and I did really. So after that, as I said earlier, then we see them actually later. We do see him later when they him, the first shocker, and the Tinkerer, and Vulture, when they taken on the trucks, as I mentioned about, when he had to go through. And he just spotted a lot of tech, and there was a lot of them. A lot of them, really. And that was like, whoa. I thought that scene was good, really. And also the bit when the Vulture talks with the shockers. The bit when I was on about, like, he kills the first shocker. I thought those scenes were good. I thought, wow, they look pretty awesome, they do. And I thought how they play out, I thought that was, wow, well done. That's what I thought as well. So then we see the Vulture and the second shocker on the ferry, and they're preparing to meet up with the bloke who becomes the fourth Scorpion villain in the comics. So before they go and meet, they're getting ready for that. Then when they hear about Spider-Man's on board, that's when they get ready to take on Spider-Man. So Shocker comes in first to try to take him out, but that doesn't end up well because he gets taken down easily and not dead. He doesn't die. It's just he gets beaten down easily. And then when Vulture kicks in, I'll tell you now, Vulture is a badass guy. He is. How he takes on, how he really takes on, how he takes on Spider-Man and the moves he does. Oh, it's pretty awesome. And he also at that point he's got like a gun laser with him, and that was a pretty whoa. That was pretty cool. And also, I do want to bring up before I carry on, the bit when they were as I said, the two shockers were trying to take on Spider-Man. I did say that it was like a chase scene, because they were driving a vehicle. Now, the first shocker does try to shoot Spider-Man with a gun, and it's the gun, the one that gets out of the vehicle, and it has that purple thing that explodes in the escalator with Ned later. And I thought that scene was really good. I thought that was pretty cool how they handled that one with the villains. Also, with the Vulture's appearance to grab Peter, that was really big to me. I thought that was awesome. That was pretty awesome. I just thought about that one up quick. Now, back to the ferry bit. Then, after when Peter, takes the gun away from Vulture, the gun goes crazy a bit, and that gun really causes the boat to go in half, it does. And then Vulture and the Shocker get away with it. They make their escape. And I thought that scene for those two, that was pretty cool. I love that the Shocker tried his attempt again to take on Spider-Man, but I thought in my head I was like, he's not having no luck with him. He's not having luck to take on Spider-Man, and it was bad. Also with the guy who becomes Scorpion, in the comic books, I thought, damn, that's bad. Also with Vulture, I thought he did a good attempt to try to take Spider-Man down, but I mean, there was no way he was going to take him down on that bit, but I thought he did his best on that point to try to take him down. But, as I said, didn't work out. Now, let's jump back to the, point of the dance bit. So, after, Peter learns that Vulture is Liz's dad, he gives, like, that funny face look at him, going like, I can't believe it's him and all that. And then on the way to the dance, Liz talks to Pete about where have you been lately and all that. He says about, oh, you were missing on that school trip and all that kind of the times when he went out to be Spider-Man, and Vulture clicked and he realised that, wait a minute, he's Spider-Man, and he finally found out, he learned his identity. Now and then he does have a talk with Peter before he goes into the school, and he says to him, you better forget about my operations I've been doing. And he really threatens him. He says, because I will kill you and everybody you love. And I was like, damn. And I thought, whoa, that is pretty bad, threatening he's giving him. Then after that, Peter, he goes in and he does have a dance with Liz a bit, but then he goes like, I'm sorry, Liz, and I don't think you deserve me and all that kind of thing. So then he wants off to try and find, Vulture, and he grabs his homemade costume, and I'll tell you now, as I said earlier, the look of it looks good. And I know to me I thought, I know it's not like a full-on proper Spider-Man costume, but I thought how he handled it with the suit was pretty good. Now, before he went on to find Vulture, he meant to cross paths with the second Shocker again. And, he was getting his ass kicked by him. But luckily, Ned saved him. And really, Peter just punches Shocker and knocks him out. So luckily, he survives in the film. So after that, Spider-Man does find Shocker in his lair. And Vulture goes on to Peter about, like, I'm doing this, for my family. I want to protect my family. That's why he was doing it, really. That's why he was being the Vulture, really. He wanted to protect his family. So he goes on all that with him. Then they do have a fight, and then Vulture really gets Spider-Man trapped because he makes his layer collapse on him, and that was bad. I mean, Peter was trying to get out, but he couldn't. But then he remembered earlier what Tony said to him, and he fully got his strength and got the building off him. Well, the top of the building, really. And then Peter learned that Vulture was going to attack this jet that was leaving the Avengers Tower building. Because we learned that Tony was selling the building, and I'll get to that about that in a bit. And on there, when we see Happy Hogan, try to, when he's putting the stuff in, he weapons a lot of stuff what's in there. He says the Hulkbuster suit. He also says about Captain America's new shield. And then he goes about a belt for Thor. And I'm like, wait. I was like, one, why has he got a new shield for Cap? Because are they not friends anymore and all that? And then two, I was like, a belt for Thor? I'm like, when he says magical belt, I'm like, what on earth? A magical belt? I was trying to figure in my head, what is that? What's that supposed to do? Now, I was like in my head, is this something that exists in the comics? I mean, if you know anything about a belt that Thor wears, comment that down below so I can have a look at it. Or bring up what that means anyway, if you know what that is. Anyway, then Ned was trying to tell Happy that this Vulture's going to attack your jet, but that doesn't go as planned. It doesn't go as well. Then we see the Vulture managed to get on the jet, and he was nearly close to doing some tech, but Peter got in the way. And they do have a fight, and Vulture, both of them bring the jet down, really. And I don't know, somehow they were lucky to survive that, they were. Even the tech in there managed to survive. Then they have another fight, and Vulture's wings damaged a bit. And I'll tell you now, Peter was getting his ass kicked a lot. Vulture was really beating him badly. And at one point, really, Vulture didn't really kill him. He wanted to get out of there with one of the pieces of tech he wanted to steal. And his wings were about to blow up, and Peter was trying to warn him, saying, "Get out of that wing now! It's gonna blow up." And Pete was trying to use his web shooter, but it doesn't work really. But then, luckily, Peter does save the Vulture. I mean, at that point, I thought, oh no, he's dead. Well, no, actually, that's a lie with it. What happens is, the wing blows up, and the point you think, oh, he's dead. But then, luckily, Peter goes to where he got exploded, and luckily found him alive. And I was glad he was alive. I'm glad, because I wanted him to survive in this film, and he does. He survives. So, Spider-Man saves the day and stops the Vulture. Then, after that, we jump to another day's school, and the news gets out about the Vulture and all that. And then, sadly, Liz and her mother find out about what, her dad's been up to, the Vulture. And, sadly, they had to move away. And I felt sad, because, really, Peter was never going to see Liz again. And, damn, I felt sorry when he went up to her, because he was saying about, I'm sorry about the dance, and I'm sorry also about, you learned about your dad was a villain. And that didn't go well with it a bit. And then after that, Happy comes and meets up with Peter, and he says to him that, thank you, Peter. And he was smiling at him, saying about, you've done it, well done. You saved, saved the people and all. It was like that kind of well done kind of thing. Then he takes Peter to the headquarters of the Avengers, the one we saw at the end of Age of Ultron, and the base that we were using in the Civil War, and what made the appearance in Ant-Man. So it takes him there, and Tony was on about, well done, kid, you did a good job and all that. And I think from the scene I was trying to get at, he was saying that I wanted you to, say that to you so you can do this job. I don't know. As I said, I can't remember a bit word to word what they were saying, but I think that's what it was. I think the reason Tony took that suit from him because it was to see that can he still do the big job without without that suit and all that, and Peter did. Oh, and before I get on, in the end, when Michelle, who's the character in the film, who's like that person who doesn't like people, who doesn't see Happy all the time, and who's kind of friends with Peter and some of the people, she actually says that some people call me MJ. Now, let me tell you now, before you start jumping the gun, you'll be like, hang on, that's the nickname that Mary Jane gets. And I thought first, some was in my head, I thought first, wait, is she actually called Mary Jane? But no, what it is, it's just a reference to Mary Jane, and, who knows that we could get Mary Jane in the future, or maybe in the next film. We just had a way to see on that one. Anyway, now back to Iron Man and Pete. So Iron Man takes him to this area with this, there's this door, or this lock thingy, and he opens it up, and we see the Iron Spider suit, and oh, it looks cool. Well, from the view I could see, it looks like it was an all armor suit, and it was completely different to the comic book version of the suit, because it was all red and blue, and the Spider-Man logo was bigger, and the face bit looked the same. Now, on the logo, the outline was like gold and everything. And I was like, oh my god, he's got a new costume. And then Tony says to him, you're one of us now, you're with the Avengers. And he does bring up saying, your room will be next division. And they do bring up the joke saying about, oh, he doesn't use doors and wars and all that. I thought, that's a good reference back to Civil War. But then Pete turns down the offer and says, well, I'm going to stay on the lower ground, keep out for the little man. And I was like, wow, he wants to stay as that for now. But I thought that was a cool moment, And later Peter Ford went like, hang on, is this a test? And he goes like, and doesn't look like it was. Huh. Now, before we jump back to Spider-Man, Pepper Potts makes an appearance in the film. And we see her come out of this door with a bunch of people. And he looks like that they were going to bring Peter in that room and announce that, oh, Spider-Man's an Avenger now. But that doesn't go as well. Because Pepper goes like, where's the kid? And they go like, he's gone and all that. And she was like, are you joking? And they says, what are we going to do now? And then Tony goes like, give me the wing. And then Happy brings it up and says, I've been keeping this since 2008. And they go like, okay. And we find out that Tony and Pepper are back together again. So I'm happy about that. Because in Civil War they did mention that, the relationship's not going well. Because it felt like, I think he said that they went on a break or something like that. But I'm glad that they're back together. I'm really glad for that. I'm really happy for it. So really, the last moments of the film was, we see Peter come back home to his flat with Aunt May. And he spotted that there's his brown bag. And in there, we find out it's his Spider-Man suit he had in the whole film. And he has it on. And we see him, the whole look of him, And then we see he take his mask off. And this was a crazy bit because in the end, we see Aunt May and she finds out that Pete is Spider-Man. And her reaction was, she goes like, "What the?" And then he cuts it off. I'm like, oh damn, she knows his identity now. Now, I'll say now that scene and all what I was on about just then, I thought dancing was good. I was hoping that the scene and the dance was going to be more longer, but I thought it was okay what we got from that. Fight with the shocker, I thought that was pretty awesome, really. Now, bits I was complaining for the film was, I learned that Peter Parker doesn't technically have the ability of sensing, when he has that spider sense, when something's coming at him. He doesn't really have that, because all the moments when the villains start to punch him, he doesn't realise that someone's going to attack him. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought he did have it in Civil War, because if you think back Civil War, remember when Pete was fighting Falcon, and then that bit when Winter Soldier chucks the thing at him? I mean, that bit, you see Peter go, oh God, and he felt that? And I was like, wait a minute, how come you didn't do that again, Pete? And it was very confusing, because it sounded like that they took that ability away from him. I mean, that doesn't make sense, really. I mean, I don't know. Are they saying like, oh, he does have it, but it's not that strong yet for him to use it a lot? I mean, maybe that's what it is. That's what I'll stick with now. Now, with the fight bit with him and Vulture, I thought that was a good final battle. And as I said also, I'm happy that Vulture survived, because I'm really happy that, he's alive, because it gives us hope that he will make appearance in the future as the Vulture again. And I am looking forward to that happens. And then with him at the Avengers building and all that, I thought that was a good moment. Also seeing the Iron Spider suit, that was an epic moment. I was really like, oh my God, it's the Iron Spider suit. I was really happy about that. I was really happy that Pepper was in it. I know I heard that she was in it, but then I thought, oh, it's going to be like that Civil War again. Like, oh, we heard she's in it, but turns out she's not in the end. But no, she was actually in it. And she's Tony's girlfriend again. And now it could be his wife now. Because I think that's what they were going to do instead. Like, with that, instead of the Peter comes out, in his Spider-Man suit and announces he's an Avenger. So it looks like them getting married. Well, I think. We'll have to wait till the next time we see the both of them together. And I thought that was a funny moment in the end when Aunt May finds out that Peter's, Spider-Man. And I was like, oh no. And I thought as well, now I'm not really angry about this, because I thought, wow, this could be interesting for the fan size now, because you'll see now that every film that Aunt May will know that he's Spider-Man. And I thought, that's pretty cool now. I'm loving that they're changing it now, to put in the franchise that, oh, Aunt May will now know that Peter is Spider-Man. So I thought, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So let's jump to the 2 credit scenes we got. So let's jump to the very important one, the middle credit scene. So we see that Vulture ends up in jail, and he ends up at the Width jail, whatever that prison's called with Spider-Man's villains. So he's there. And then we see the Scorpion, and we find out he survived. But we find out he's got like a scar in his face. And then he goes up to him and says about, hey, there's some mates of mine who want to band up together to take on Spider-Man. So, are you in? And he also brought up about, like, you know who he is under the mask. Can you tell me? And then Vulture goes like, if I wanted to kill him, I would tell you. So in that bit, he goes, he's keeping the identity safe. So that's really interesting. So he won't tell the bloke who will become Scorpion who Spider-Man is. And also, that bit where Scorpion was saying, I think he's referencing the Sinister Six. So, are the Sinister Six coming into the fan size? I'll tell you now, that would be awesome to see. I want to see a film where Spider-Man takes on the Sinister Six, because I really want to see a live-action version of that. Now, for now, I think that's what Scorpion was on about. Hopefully that's what he's really on about. Or is he just mentioning that, oh, some minions who are not really supervillains just want to band together to take him on, to take Spider-Man on. I don't know yet, but I think he's really bringing about the Sinister Six. So, when can we see the Sinister Six then? Well, I'll tell you this now. Hopefully, maybe they could do it for the 3rd film. Second film, maybe you could bring another member who's part of it, and then the end of that, you could then bring up the Sinister Six, and then you see all six members come together in the end of the second one, and then the third one we see them all come together to take on Spider-Man. Maybe that's how they all play out, but I don't know. I don't know yet, but we'll just have to wait to see. Now, I am surprised that, as I said, that Vulture wants to keep Spider-Man's secret as a secret, so he doesn't want to tell no one else. I mean, I can understand because, you know, he's Liz, you know, because he's the father, you know, he's the father of Liz, and, you know, Peter's friends with her, so I think I can understand why. I think I can understand. Then the last scene we got is with Captain America just walks onto the screen, and he goes on about, you know, gives us about a public service announcements and all that kind of thing. And then he brings up and says about patience. He goes on about wasting time to wait for this scene. Something like that joke. He was bringing that joke up. And then he turns to his people and goes like, how many more of these are they? And I was like, is he making a joke? How many films he's got left? Or how many films Spider-Man's got left? I was like, damn. And I thought, whoa, that was hilarious. Pretty hilarious. And then the credit does come up saying that Spider-Man will return. So we're going to see him in the Infinity War. We're going to see him there. Now, before I finish off, I want to bring some stuff quickly. Now, the good things I thought it was good was, I love it that I love the mix they did. You know, with Peter Parker as Spider-Man and Peter Parker when he's at school. They really did that good. The school bit was pretty cool. It was something I was really, really looking forward to with those other Spider-Man films, but they didn't do it right. But in this film, they've done it right. Just like what they promised. And I can't wait to see that again in the other films. Oh, excuse me. I can't wait to see that. The costumes, I loved the costume we got in the whole film. Homemade one, as I said, it was alright, but it was okay, really. Villains, I thought Vulture was awesome. I thought he did a good job. I thought he had to be... to me, I think he's the best villain to me as a Spider-Man villain so far in the MCU. He's the best one. Shocker, well, I'm hoping in the future, as I said earlier about he's only got one Shocker glove. I hope in the future we see him getting a costume and maybe get a different looks of the Shocker glove. You know, don't have that crossbones look one. Just get, like, make your own Shocker gloves. Because, well, that's what I'll say now. So, hoping that will happen. Oh, and also, I forgot to say, the Tinkerer sounds like he got away as well. So, he got away. So, hopefully we see him again in the future. And I thought his performance was good. And I loved it that he's the Tinkerer. Also, as I said, I hope the Bog does come back as Scorpion, and I hope he becomes the second villain in the second one. That'd be pretty cool if he's the main villain in that. I would love to see the Scorpion in it. And the side characters and all those people, I thought they did a good job as their characters. Like, Ned did a good job. Liz, the actress who plays her, she did a good job. Now, I know I didn't bring up much about Michelle, but I'll bring it up really quickly. So, I thought Michelle was a good character. I thought she was awesome because, as I said, she wasn't the person who doesn't smile much. And she kind of makes kind of nasty comments to people. But then she goes on about, well, I'm sitting with you because I ain't got friends. And she has that weird moment she does. But they are funny at the same time. So, I really enjoyed her character. Flash Thompson, I loved his character. I hope he comes back again. And I hope he can be Age of Venom in the future. I hope he does, because the actor who played him was perfect. And also, like, Happy and Tony. I was surprised that Tony wasn't in it that much, because I thought he might have had, like, a fight scene in the film with Vulture or Shocker, but no. Because, in my mind, I said, I'm happy he's in it, but I was like, I hope he doesn't get involved with the fight, but luckily he didn't, so I'm happy about that. And Aunt May's performance, spot on. I thought she looked good, just like in Civil War. Now, I know she didn't really get a lot of scenes, but the scenes that she had in the film were pretty cool. And I think my best moment of her in this film was the ending when she was going to say, "What the f-?" And as I said, I am looking forward to her now in the future films that she knows Peter is Spider-Man. I'm really looking forward to that, really. So, yeah, that's my spoiler review, everyone. So, if you want to see some pictures for the any future MCU films or news about it, my Marvel Facebook page is down in the description below. after you do see the film, leave your comments below. What did you think of the film? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Did you did you like the villains and the characters? And also, give your thoughts. What do you think that middle credit scene could be mean? Do you think, does he reference the Sinister or not? Just bring your thoughts and theories you got from this film you saw. Please, I want to love to discuss about it. Also, give this a thumbs up. Share this out to your friends so we get more viewers and subscribers. And if you're new to this channel, this is what I do. I do Marvel and Transformers Cinematic Universe news. I do trailer, TV spots, clip reactions, and I also do spoiler reviews when the films are out. Trailers and clips, when they come out, I do those. TV spots, I do them, but I don't do like the ones that become more spoilers later because I don't want to be spoiled, you know, before the film. I don't want to be spoiled and see, oh, that's what's going to happen in the film. Oh, and last but not least, if you want to see my last Marvel video, click here. My channel, click here. Make sure you click the bell so you can be notified. And jump here to see my last Transformers video. So, yeah, that's it really, guys. So, I hope you enjoyed me spoiler review. Thank you for watching, and see you again soon. Peace.